Here's an AMI This Week shortcut with Alex Smythe.
Welcome to Animal Class.
When it comes to hunting for prey in the wild, speed and camouflage are king. And today I'm at the Toronto Zoo to check out a feline that is a master of both, the cheetah. I'm outside the habitat for the cheetah and I'm joined by zookeeper Jason. Jason, thank you so much for having me here today.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so what can you tell me about the cheetah and some of its distinctive features?
Yeah, for sure. So they have a body type that's unlike any other of the big cats, and they actually branched off from the big cat lineage long before a lot of the common ones like the lions and the tigers ever did. So as a result, they have awesome adaptations. They have a small head that kind of tucks into the frame of their body when they run, a long fluffy tail that helps them steer when they're running, and of course that spotted coat that helps them camouflage out on the savanna. When they're a baby, it's actually almost white on top. They have a big fluffy mane, and where the spots are is very, very dark. It makes them look like the honey badger, which is a very fearsome creature out on the savanna, and gives them a bit of protection. And as they get older, they lose that scruff and they get that tawny yellow coat along the back, a little bit whiter along the jawline into their belly, and then about 2,000 dark round or oval spots along their body.
And so how big can a cheetah typically get?
So they can get to be between 20 and 70 kilograms. It's pretty variable. Males are much bigger than females in this species of animal, but it's very variable, but it's about the size of a large dog. They have a very long tail, and it actually gets thicker as it goes towards the end, and that's because they use it like a rudder while they're running. It also terminates in a series of black and white bands that can be used as communication between cats. And they're very distinct to each cat. So some might end on the black, some might end on the white, some might have more, some might have less. It's a way of telling each other apart. They also have two stripes that run down their eyes. Now that's thought to protect them from some of the sun's glare, but it's also thought that it helps them discern others' facial expressions. Because they're so ubiquitously covered with spots, they need some way of being able to tell each other apart and to communicate using body language.
Oh, that's really interesting. So how fast can a cheetah run?
So they can run up to 120 kilometers an hour, but of course that's for very short periods. Most of the time they're running much slower than that, but they have bursts of acceleration that push them up to those fantastic speeds.
And in terms of when they are in the wild and they're hunting, what's their typical diet? What are they feasting on in the wild?
So they typically want to hunt for things that are a little bit smaller than them. So on the large end, springboks and gazelles, but they'll also hunt for rabbits and birds as well.
Awesome. And where could you typically find a cheetah in the wild? What's their home habitat?
So they can be found in the southern portion of Africa, going up the east coast into the Middle East, and they're actually reintroducing them back into India as well, where they formerly were found historically.
What's the biggest threat to a cheetah in the wild? Is it other prey? Is it human interaction? What is it?
So number one has to be habitat loss. A lot of these animals, they come from very productive ecosystems. So what's productive for the animals to use is also productive for us to farm on. So they're losing a lot of their land to farming, and that's probably the number one. There are less than 7,000 of these cheetahs still living out in the wild, and that number is continuing to dwindle. So it's very imperative that we focus conservation efforts on protecting these animals, and at places like the Toronto Zoo doing all we can to research and learn all we can from these amazing animals.
What's your favorite part about the cheetah? Like, do you have something about it, whether it's a characteristic, a feature, or a behavior that they have?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just the fact that they're so different from all the other cats. They make a completely different set of vocalizations than any other big cat. They look completely different than any other big cat. They're just so unique, and that makes them amazing to work with. I think everybody is familiar with a lot of big cats like lions and tigers producing this amazing roar that can carry for very long distances. Well, the cheetah doesn't really want to draw too much attention to itself, so it has a series of vocalizations that are more like the chirpings that you would hear a bird make. They also are the only big cat that's able to purr, which when you're working with them in a facility such as this, it's a great way of knowing that you're doing a good job when you can hear one of your coworkers purring in agreement with what you're doing.
And you're talking about the cheetah in this case, right?
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, to teach me about the cheetahs. I am a huge fan, and now I can take some more knowledge away with me, so thank you so much.
Anytime.